Hello and welcome back to King's Quest VI. As you may recall from the last video, I took you through the short ending, or one of the short endings I should say, to King's Quest VI. The shortest one, the one that gives you the least possible amount of points and solves the least amount of puzzles. And so now, I'm going to take you through the long ending, the longest one, and bring you to the full score and to the happiest possible ending. So, to start off, we're going to take and trade this in.
Would you mind if I traded this in?
Of course, Prince Alex. Please, choose something in exchange for the items on the counter.
Alexander looks closely at the items on the counter to make his selection.
And this time we'll take the only item we haven't used yet, the painter's brush.
I think I'd like the painter's brush.
Very good, Prince Alex. The painter's brush it is. May your painting go well. Feel free to bring back the brush at any time.
Thank you.
Alright. Now, if you recall, earlier, we saw a cutscene in the castle that showed us what the lamp,
Old lamps for new...
Yeah, what Shamir Shamazel's lamp looks like. And so...
The peddler's pole provides convenient transportation of the lamp seller's wares. There are 6 new lamps on the pole.
So we're going to come back here in a second and see if we can find a match for his lamp. But first, we have some business to attend to on the Isle of the Mists. If you recall, we couldn't go back to the Isle of the Mists before because we would get caught in a bonfire and come to a rather untimely death. But now,
Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
we'll see what happens.
Great gods! Did you see that? The man just appeared from nowhere.
Perhaps he was sent by the spirits. I see no boat.
He is an intruder, no matter how he got here. Grab him!
Not again. Look, I'll leave. It's no problem.
I think not. Let's go.
Alexander is frozen at the spectacle before him. Robed figures are gathered around a bonfire. Some mystical ceremony is taking place, but as to its purpose, Alexander has no clue.
We found a trespasser on the beach, Archdruid.
Uh-oh. Archdruid. Now what has Alexander wandered into?
This must be the foreigner we were warned about. How appropriate that he should come during our rain festival. Place him in the sacrificial cage.
Wait! I must rescue the princess!
There's an ancient Druid saying, a man who would save others must first save himself.
Alexander is pushed into the confining wicker cage. And the cage is swung out over the bonfire. Alexander starts to feel a little warm. The bottom of the cage is getting uncomfortably hot. This cage is really hot. Fire in the cage! Alexander pulls out Beauty's old slave clothes, desperate to beat out the flames. The flame is extinguished, but the clothes themselves burn to cinders. Alexander won't be able to keep the cage from igniting for long. The heat and movement must have jarred something. Something that Alexander's carrying is starting to jiggle around. Egad, something's really percolating. The water in Alexander's lamp is hot. It's just about boiling.
His eyes.
Alexander feels a drop. It starts to rain.
That man is a powerful nature wizard. By the sacred oak, let him down! I must apologize for our rude welcoming committee. We've been feeling inhospitable ever since the winged ones stole our sacred miniature oak tree. Besides, Wazir Al-Hazred sent a message that we were to watch out for a highly dangerous foreign assassin. I assume you are the one he meant.
I'm sure I'm precisely who he meant. I assure you, I mean to harm no one, unless that person threatens the princess. I'm sorry to have disrupted your ceremony, but I'm running out of time.
What is it that you seek?
The Oracle on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain told me I should speak to you about the realm of the dead. She told me of 2 souls in unrest there that I might be able to free.
Free souls in the realm of the dead? You're mad!
The souls might be able to help me on my mission to save the princess. It's imperative that I do everything I can. The risks are not important.
No. And yet getting yourself killed will hardly help the princess. But I will tell you what I know. Legend has it that it is the right of any human to challenge the Lord of the Dead in order to save his own life or the life of another already past. But the knowledge of how to do this was lost centuries ago. I have only heard of one who tried it, a young knight who came to the land of the Green Isles from a distant land long ago. According to the story, he was determined to challenge the Lord of the Dead for the soul of his dead lover. It is said that he tamed the Lord of the Dead's horse, a black-winged, demon-hearted beast named Nightmare. Nightmare sometimes flies to the human world to feed on certain noxious plants. Those unfortunate enough to see her are glad to escape with their very souls intact. Somehow the knight captured Nightmare and rode off on her back, supposedly to the realm of the dead. But neither the knight nor his lover ever returned. If there was a means for challenge, it was lost with the night.
I see. Can you tell me anything about the Lord of the Dead?
That is a blacker matter still. To the Druids, he is Samhain, Lord of Coldness and Despair. Samhain was once a man like you or I, but he insulted the gods and was sentenced to rule the Underworld. Immortal he is and mateless, robbed of sleep, robbed of movement, robbed of companionship. It is said that he hates all mortals even more for the mortality that he lost. That is all I know.
Interesting. I shall remember.
Now look how the oak embers of our bonfire still glow hot despite the rain. If you're bent on your course, you'll need courage that's just as impervious to the chill. May your luck last longer than your storm, brave one.
May it indeed. Thank you, Archdruid.
Now we know what we have to do. We have to somehow find our way to the realm of the dead and rescue the 2 lost souls that are trapped there.
The embers from the bonfire are still smoldering despite the rain.
The oak embers. It seems we need some oak embers here. We've already used the Make Rain spell. To charming the creature of the night spell, you need a skull full of hot oak embers, some sulfur, and a strand of maiden's hair. Well, we can get the skull full of oak embers right here.
Alexander scoops up some of the red-hot embers in the ancient human skull.
And now we need to add some sulfur. We don't have any sulfur, but we do have something that's just as good.
The spoiled egg has a slightly yellowed shell that bulges in spots from the pressure of the gases inside. Alexander cracks the spoiled egg and dumps it into the skull containing the embers. The spoiled egg hisses as it makes contact with the hot embers. Zounds, the steam! Phew, the smell of sulfur!
Sulfur. And finally, a strand of hair from a pure-hearted maiden.
Alexander puts the strand of hair into the skull containing the embers and the spoiled egg.
Alright, that's all we got.
The incantation would do little good without a creature of the night to charm.
That is very true. Little brain freeze there.
Alexander pulls out his magic map.
We were told that Nightmare comes to the human world to feed on noxious plants, and there's only one noxious plant that we've seen so far.
Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander arrives at the top of the cliffs, somewhat winded after his long but uneventful climb.
And there she is.
A mighty winged horse, the color of midnight, is feeding from the nightshade bush. The creature must be Nightmare, the one the Druids spoke about.
Calm down, girl.
Nightmare ignores Alexander.
Before I continue, I want to take a look at something I should have looked at long ago. Beast's Mirror. It's not just an ordinary mirror.
Beast's mirror consists of a piece of glass set into a decorative frame. The glass is unusually clear, and the image particularly true.
He may have mentioned this before, but it's a mirror that shows truth, only truth. And that's why it worked on the genie in the castle. It showed through the genie's illusion as Princess Cosima, and showed that he was truly, that he was actually the genie instead. So this particular mirror...
Alexander examines Beast's mirror. The glass has a startling clarity, and the frame is quite beautiful.
The mirror itself shows the true nature of something.
Alexander looks in the mirror and sees a handsome, somewhat lonely young man.
So that's a good thing to remember for the future. But right now, we're going to...
Alexander is carrying a message from his beloved Cosima.
Right now, we're going to grab a hold of Nightmare and see what she'll do for us.
Alexander solemnly speaks the incantation over the skull.
Creature of night, to me succumb. Fire and brimstone leave thee numb. Purity bind thee like a chain, to do whate'er I now ordain.
Nightmare flares her nostrils at the scent of the fire and brimstone.
That's it! Come on! I need passage to your homeland, fiery one.
Unable to resist the power of the enchanted smell, Nightmare approaches Alexander. Her eyes appear glassy and sightless. In her hypnotized state, she is unaware of the human so close to her flank, or of anything at all except that marvelous smell.
Now ride!
Nightmare deposits Alexander on a strange, cold world. And some of the inhabitants don't look too friendly.
Alright, so here we are in the land of the dead, and we have some zombies walking around here. And if the zombies touch you, you die and you become like them, so we're not going to let that happen. But who have we here?
Restless spirits are bound to the surface of the underworld. Chained by earthly cares, they are unable to go below. These two spirits wander together. The spirit of a beautiful and noble-looking woman floats silently alongside that of a desperate-looking man.
Who are you, grieving spirits?
I am Queen Ilaria of the land of the Green Isles, and this beloved spirit is my husband, King Caliphan. We were murdered in our beds by our trusted vizier. Like a viper, he snuck in during the night and stabbed us in our sleep. Now my husband's soul is broken, and he will not speak.
Then you are the ones I seek. Are you not the parents of Princess Cassima?
Our daughter! Have you news of the princess?
I know that she is alive and safely back in her kingdom after being rescued from Mordak. But I'm afraid I have not personally seen her. Alhazred is keeping her in her room in mourning for you.
I am glad to hear of her return, but she will not be safe alone with that devil. Oh, that we could be there to protect her.
Cassima, how I fail thee.
My poor husband will never rest while our murder goes unavenged and our daughter is in danger.
I came to take you back with me. Your people are still loyal to you. They need to know about the Vizier. Cassima needs you too.
But this is the realm of the dead. We cannot leave it. Nor, for that matter, can you. The only one who might be able to return us all to the land of the living is the Lord of the Dead. But he would never help us. He has no mercy.
I might be able to convince him. I must try.
Then take this. It is my ticket to the Underworld. There you will find the Lord of the Dead. I cannot use the ticket as long as I'm chained here. And if we cannot be avenged, I will never be unchained.
Thank you. Perhaps it will save us all.
Be careful, young man. If you can ease my husband's torment and help our daughter, we will be most grateful.
I will do my best. Goodbye, Queen Ilaria.
Alright. Well then, whoa, let's not come in contact with the zombies. And let's head out and see what we can do.
The spirit of a woman hangs like a puff of smoke in the air. She is weeping and appears to be very distressed about something.
Why do you not rest, sad spirit?
Rest? I cannot rest. My son is lost.
Lost? You mean in this realm?
No. His spirit is stuck in the land of the living, probably looking for me. But I cannot leave to go show him the way. My poor Ali.
Is there anything I can do?
Take this handkerchief. If you get back to the land of the living and find him, tell him that his mother is waiting for him here. By this kiss, he'll be able to find his way to the realm of the dead.
I'll do my best to find him.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, my Ali.
Alright, so a little lost ghost. Also in the land of the living. Oh, zombie. Alright, well, let's continue on and see what we can see. Well,
The skeleton to the left of the path hands something to the spirits that approach the Underworld Entrance.
What
Ticket,
here?
please. Next.
This whole scene looks oddly familiar, doesn't it? One of the neat things about King's Quest VI is this part right here. You think, whenever you die, that you're just seeing a rather nicely crafted death sequence, but in fact, you can actually make your way to this very place. And you actually find out you were being sent to the land of the dead the whole time. It's pretty neat, actually.
A strange skeleton with a long horse-like head and ceremonial armor stands at the base of the path to the Underworld. He watches over new arrivals with a discerning eye, handing tickets to the spirits desiring admittance. A large bone keyring hangs from his waist. A large keyring containing a skeleton key hangs from the waist of the skeleton to the left of the path.
Skeleton key. That could be useful.
A uniformed skeleton stands guard at the entrance to the Underworld. He takes something from the passing spirits and then waves them on into the Underworld. Living skeletons are gathered around the entrance to the Underworld.
Might I get one of those tickets?
The skeleton with the tickets must not approve of Alexander's less than ghostly looks. He refuses to give him a pass.
I must see the Lord of the Dead. Please let me pass.
Tickets only.
The skeleton at the door seems quite determined. Alexander approaches the entrance to the Underworld.
Ticket, please.
Well,
Alexander is standing at the entrance to the Underworld. The entrance is a huge tendon-covered skull. The skull's mouth is the doorway to whatever lies below. Two solemn skeletons admit the spirits who seem to be drawn, trance-like, to enter the skull.
Well, this place is a little dreary, isn't it? I wonder if we can do something to cheer it up.
A group of large bones form an interesting arrangement to the right of the path. Two smaller bones are propped up on the ground near the larger group. Alexander picks up the two bones on the ground. Now, what do these bones remind him of?
Ah, yes. Now I remember.
The skeletons are overcome with the musical call of the bones. They begin to jiggle, then to dance. Alexander finishes his tune, and the skeletons resume their posts. Despite their frolic, they don't seem any friendlier.
Well, that's okay, because at least we got something useful out of it.
Alexander picks up the skeleton key.
Ticket, please.
Well, it really looks like we won't be getting in unless we give him our ticket.
The ghostly ticket reads, "Admit 1."
I have a ticket.
Oh, on. Next.
Alright, and here we are, in the rather grim land of the dead. And who have we here?
Apparently, Alexander's not the only one who's curious about the body on the path. A knight's remains lie abandoned on the path. The knight, like Alexander, must have been alive when he entered the underworld, but for some reason he never reached his destination. Alexander wonders if this is the knight the Druids spoke of. The knight is wearing an old, tattered ribbon. It must have once meant much to him as a sign of his lady's favor.
It must indeed be the knight.
The knight is wearing one black gauntlet. There appears to be some writing on the gauntlet, but Alexander can't quite make out what it says. Alexander takes the knight's black gauntlet and examines the writing on it. Flesh may cross the portal and seek its master, death. Flesh may go where death is trod, and challenge, like Scheherazade, he who reigns beneath the sod, to spare a mortal's breath. Zounds! That sounds serious.
Serious indeed.
Alexander doesn't want to disturb the knight's hand.
Well, the knight came to no good end himself. Let's hope that we fare a little bit better.
Charon stands in his boat, eternal ferryman of the dead. Alexander can't quite make out what's under Charon's cowl, and he's not sure he would want to. Charon's boat is an unearthly vessel. It bears a huge skeletal prow for slicing through the river Styx. The spirits of the newly deceased make their final journey into the depths of the underworld. Charon stands in his boat, eternal ferryman of the dead. The river Styx is an ebony mass of liquid, resembling black tar or melted black glass. Despite its incredible stillness, the river seems to have a life of its own.
The river Styx. Well, we need a little bit of that in our teacup.
Alexander scoops a little of the river Styx into the teacup with the swamp ooze, being careful not to get any of the black water on his skin.
Alright, well, we can't go any further, so we're gonna have to get Charon to ferry us across.
I must see the Lord of the Dead. Please, let me ride across the river Styx on the ferry.
Charon apparently has rules as strict as those of the skeletons at the Underworld's entrance. Alexander is not getting on that boat until he gives Charon the appropriate fare.
Well, fortunately, I picked up a couple coins earlier.
Will these coins do as fare for passage?
Charon accepts the fare and waves Alexander onto the boat.
Alright, and so, here we are, somewhere.
Alexander is standing on a path in front of a large gate. The path is surrounded by the chilly river Styx. Charon, the ferryman, is gone. Alexander has the feeling that he's close to his destination, that it must in fact lie on the other side of the gate.
Charon is gone. So there's no turning back now. Unfortunately, we are also out of time. So when we return, we'll see what we can find on the other side of this gate. As always, thanks for watching.